Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be the first 2023 garden tour video. I'm excited to show you what's going on in our garden this year. It's been a while since I've done something like this. Actually, it's been a while since I've done anything. If you remember back to the 2020 video, we had a lot of things that were going on. The soil was deficient, there was a lot of things that weren't growing. This year, I'm happy to say that there's been a huge improvement. It's about 6:45 in the morning and I wanted to take you with me and walk around the garden and show you what's growing. So this is the place where the old gate was last year. It ended up breaking down because it was made of pallets. It was not something that was meant to be permanent, but it did end up breaking, and so we took it down, and I would eventually like to replace the fence here with a actual gate, but for now we just put up this chain link fence that we salvaged from other parts of the property so that the chickens wouldn't get in. So until then, we put a gate up over on this side. So as you're walking in the front here, directly to the left, we have a spaghetti squash plant and sunflowers. Some are actually getting pretty big. Next to the sunflowers is my son's garden. He's actually doing really well this year. He has cucumbers, tomatoes, green beans here. He tried to do some corn, but didn't germinate very well. They were old seeds. I think maybe that was the problem. Behind the tomatoes there are potatoes. You can see some of them have blossoms on them. Next to that is more potatoes. We have not had great success with potatoes this year, which is a bummer because the last garden that we did at our last house had many years of compost and things put on it. So we had really great potatoes. So it's kind of a bummer that these are not doing super well, but we'll get there. Here are the pear trees. We have two that were already established here on the property, and then we ended up planting two more. There's one right here and one right here. So as you can see, the design layout of this garden is a little bit different. I didn't end up loving that square. These beams here are temporary, so we took them out and rearranged them, and I actually really like how this garden layout works. There are 4 beds here. If I was a little bit more intentional with this space, I could probably get 5 here, so I might end up doing that later when I make things more permanent. But for now, these beams kind of help us distinguish between the garden beds and the paths, and it has worked out great. So in this first bed here, we have cucumbers. I have straight 8 cucumbers here. There's supposed to be dill growing in the middle, and then I have pickling cucumbers here on the end, and also a couple zucchini plants. So these posts are just things that we salvaged from the property. This is just a hog panel that we zip tied to it for a trellis. We're trying to make use of our vertical space, so they will eventually climb all over that. The second garden bed here has leeks on this side, which is kind of like an onion. We have parsley in the middle, and then carrots over here. This tall plant is a volunteer cosmos from last year. Next to that we have green beans. These are doing pretty well. On the end we have some basil. My daughter just wanted to plant a bean seed, so we have 1 green bean plant right there. Here's another zucchini plant that was planted obviously earlier. And we have another trellis here. This one is just on T-posts. This is a 16-foot hog panel. And these are my tomatoes. We actually started these from seeds in the greenhouse this year. I've never had this much success with them. We had a few that died kind of early. The stems got snapped by a windstorm that we had before we had the trellis up. So these ones right here are actually suckers that we pulled off from some of these plants. We stuck them in water for a couple days. They grew roots and we transplanted them back out to the garden. On this far side of the garden, we have a little garden box. I have a 3-year-old who loves flowers, and every time we come out to the garden, she always has to show me her flowers. These are zinnias. It's so cute how excited she is about these blooming. Next to her little box of flowers, I have a loofah gourd. He's just really moving. Then we have some broccoli. I started these from seeds as well. Next to the broccoli, on the other side, we have another loofah plant climbing the other way. I'm hoping they're going to take up this whole fence space. So if you remember from last year, we had some lamb's quarter in this area, which I said was indication of alkaline soil, and that is true. However, in this area this year, we have some purslane that's growing, and that is actually evidence of the soil improving and healing. It's also very nutritional. I've never personally eaten it, but this is just a great sign that the soil is healing. When we were planting seeds here, we pulled out the flower packets and my 1-year-old got into the zinnia seeds. So they're kind of just spilled all over there, but it's fine. We're gonna let them grow. So my 8-year-old's garden box here has tomatoes in it. They're a little wild, but that's okay. So is she. This is the original reason we took out the packet of zinnia seeds. Next to the zinnias is cauliflower. I don't see any heads yet, but the foliage is pretty. You might notice in here there's a bunch of these squash looking plants. There's one there, there's some in the middle over there, there's some by the broccoli, and then of course this guy as well. We ended up collecting a bunch of discarded pumpkins from last fall. People were just giving them away at the end of the season. We fed them to the cow and the chickens. The pumpkin seeds can be used as dewormer. And so obviously when you're putting cow manure on the garden with pumpkin seeds, you get a lot of volunteer plants. North of the pear trees is my husband's garden. So again, the corn seeds were a year old. I'm thinking, you know, that was our problem. They must be a little bit more sensitive. Some seeds I've been able to use year after year, and the corn doesn't seem to be one of those. Oh, we also have a couple more spaghetti squash over here. These are the green beans, which are doing so much better than last year. We picked our first round, which is not usually very many, but we're really excited about that. There's tons of blossoms on here, so we should have lots of green beans. Over here we had the potatoes, but we're realizing that this is a little bit of a low spot and potatoes don't like to get their feet wet. So we ended up taking them all out because they ended up just wilting and rotting. So we are just going to plant more green beans here for this year. We just planted those seeds, so it should take a week or two for them to come up. Next to that is my husband's tomatoes. There is another hog panel behind here. He had started some cantaloupe seeds, and the babies switched around the identification tags while they were in the greenhouse. So we thought this was a cantaloupe, but it is actually a cucumber. I've heard that as far as companion plants go, you're not supposed to put cucumbers and watermelon next to each other. We obviously didn't intend to do that, but next to the cucumber is watermelon. So I think that is the entire garden.
So that's our garden this year for the 2023 season. I'm really happy with how things are growing. Really the main thing that we kept doing was before we tilled it this year, we put all the cow manure on here, we put a whole bunch of wood chips down, we put a whole bunch of leaves from the fall last year that we raked from our yard. So I think just building the soil, adding nutrients, adding organic matter has really helped. You can see that things are growing a lot better this year. I'm really glad that we did these like wooden post barriers for now. We just got a whole bunch of them from a neighbor who was getting rid of them. I didn't put any permanent bordering in early on because this kind of allows me to change the design of the garden and find something that works for me. I really like this 4-row layout here. I'd really like to make these more permanent. My goal is not to till every year, but instead to just keep adding amendments and compost to the garden beds, and then just keep layering on wood chips here in the walkways. A little bit of intentionality goes a long way. If you're out here every day and you just kind of take things in, you can see it's morning time, the sun is kind of starting to come up. I come out here before the kids wake up, just kind of take a look around, get an eye on things every day. That way you're getting feedback every day and you can kind of see what's going on. After we planted, really the only thing that we've been adding is a little bit of blood meal. We've also been using bone meal, which is phosphorus, and then we've been using a little bit of kelp as well, just kind of right at the base of each plant. So it's not going over the entire garden, but it's going right where the plant would need it and use it. Those are 3 things that we've been using other than just adding organic matter and cow manure to the garden. Ideally, we'll get to a place where the soil will be rich enough and we won't have to use those things. But, you know, in the meantime, if we want to get any kind of harvest, then if there's a few things that are lacking, I don't mind adding, you know, natural remedies like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this tour. Thank you for coming along with me this morning as I walk through the garden. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.